Welcome to yet another exciting edition of Sports Talk here on Atlantic Television Network. In this edition of the program, 13-year-old wins gymnastic award in Gombe State. And coming from the world of tennis, winners have emerged for the China Open. Super Eagles captain wins, scored 2 goals in the match in the Nigerian Professional Football League game. Details of these and many more will be yours when we return for the break. Stay with us.
The people of Maiduguri need your help. A catastrophic flood has engulfed the city, leaving over 1 million residents stranded and fighting for survival. Entire communities are submerged, with people trapped inside homes and on rooftops cut off from food, clean drinking water and essential supplies. Health experts are warning of a potential outbreak of deadly diseases, and medical facilities are out of commission. The situation is dire. Helicopters, boats and high-riding trucks capable of navigating the treacherous, waterlogged areas are urgently required to reach the countless men, women and children still awaiting rescue. The Nigerian media is issuing a desperate plea to the government, humanitarian organizations, international actors and citizens across the nation. Step in now, before it's too late. For more information on how you can help, contact Professor Usman A. Tar, the Honorable Commissioner for Information and Internal Security, Borno State, on 0809-233-3955. Every second counts.
This is powered by Atlantic Television Network.
Welcome back. Sports Talk here on Atlantic Television Network. It's a Monday morning. Mike is here.
Good morning, and good morning to our viewers out there.
Of course, we start on a local scene where 13-year-old gymnastics sensation Muya Kwarencha was among outstanding players and football administrators who received special recognition awards at the inaugural edition of the Prudential representative of Gombe State.
Yes, and I think for me it was very, very impressive of her. At such age, she was able to carry the burden of a whole state on her.
The award ceremony. Away from that, let's quickly get to fencing with Fayomi Akishoye. This is a Nigerian who has pledged allegiance to Nigeria, leaving behind his representation of Great Britain. Fencing is not a popular sport here in Nigeria, and someone who is adept at fencing in Great Britain, changing nationality to say allegiance to Nigeria. What does that mean?
I think for me it's quite shocking, and it's one of the news that mostly will excite country. You know, but leaving Great Britain to pledge allegiance to Nigeria, I mean, this is the highest order for me. And the Fencing Federation just need to take full advantage of this one to ensure that fencing is properly developed, and the equipment used for it should also be on ground, so that this very one who have also pledged allegiance will not have any chairperson then was crying out on the media for help and all of that, but they also try to see if they can source for fund to make fencing a very lucrative sport.
Nigeria now has a prospect in fencing, and we should do everything possible, talking about the Fencing Federation, to ensure that Kishunyala is featured at the forthcoming Olympic Games. This is the time to prepare, not just about a year or thereabout. We now have a potential that should be conditioned enough to be at the Olympic Games. Wrestling Balogun Stadium in Lagos. Table tennis. We've talked about trying to discover younger talents over and over again. Here is a championship that will put out a prize money of about 4 million naira. This is where, do I say, young table tennis players can be discovered.
Yes, of course, this is where young table tennis players can be discovered. But then I think it would have been better if we had started this discovery mission or journey earlier now, by trying to discover them right from the primary school level, right from the secondary school level, or happen to underage tennis development and all of that, but not when you just fix up a major tournament, and that is where you tend to go and discover young talent. You must have been able to put your house in order first before preparing this young one that we tend to, comb and make them future prospect to take up, responsibilities when some of the big names in the world of tennis right here in Nigeria will retire. The likes of, Funko Shonaike, the likes of Haruna Quadri, Fatima Bello, they are also aging, and we need capable hand to replace them. So for me, I think it's another opportunity for us to take advantage and see if we can be able to unearth new, tennis players out there. Let's hope that the Tennis Federation of Nigeria, they are, putting their nose on the ground to actually discover some of these young prospects.
Today's event, Mixed Nature, will come into Nigeria in the next few days from now, 31st of October to be specific, where we will see 16 teams within and outside Nigeria. Government Director Tayo saying that this is a very significant one because he's expecting to see tennis from Ghana, Togo, Benin Republic. This will be exciting to see African, just say West Coast neighbors be part of this tournament.
Yeah, it's going to be a nice one, and this is where we are going to test our true metals, test our true ability against the likes of Togo, Ghana, another neighboring West African country. I think it offers us that opportunity to also compete and see how far we've gone in terms of tennis development right here in the country. Because if we don't get it right against our neighboring West African countries, it means that we still have a lot to learn. So it's more like a litmus test for the tennis federation to see how far we've come in terms of developing the game.
Well, still in tennis, this time we'll go across to Europe, where Coco Gauff, South Asia, right? Coco will power Karolina Muchova in straight sets to win the China Open at the weekend. This is her second title this year and 8th overall for the Coco Gauff.
Yeah, Coco Gauff, I would say, is getting back her mojo gradually, winning her second title of the season so far. I think he is a big one, and also racking up that point, which is also very, very important. Apart from the money that comes with this very one, and picking up the point is also very important to help her also, push in terms of, the rankings when the next world ranking is out. I think she's going to leap at least a little bit, jump a little bit higher compared to her ranking as it is right now. What an impressive display, though it was a game of end-to-end. It was keenly contested. It wasn't just a one-way victory for her either, but then she was able to surmount some of those challenges and came out top in that very one. Big congratulations for Coco Gauff.
Talking about the China Open that got concluded last night in Beijing, China, it took 1 hour 16 minutes for Coco Gauff to beat Muchova 6-1, 6-3, and that was a thrilling one like we heard there. But after a disappointing few months, remember her not doing so well at the New York event, of course, at the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
But she's now bounced back to winning the China Open. Let's hope that Coco Gauff will give an indication of what to expect in the year to come, because she's one of the tennis players, female tennis players that we expect, to at least take over from the world #1 there, Iga Swiatek. Muchova, no doubt, shown that she's not bad. We understand she's ranked number 49 right now, but getting to the final of the China Open was quite a feat.
Sure, Muchova is not a bad player, ranked 49 in the world as it is right now, but she getting to the final of this very one, I think set her back some of the, the months out there. But then this season, I think I would say she's done pretty well. Let's see if she can also build up from where she stopped this season by getting to the final of this very one. Hope to see the best of Muchova in her next outing.
Talking about improvement for Muchova, this is a WTA 1000 event, and haven't come to the final. It's good, but even better for the winner, Coco Gauff. The WTA season Masters is coming, and everybody wants to be part of it, part of the best 8 or best 12 in tennis. And I think this victory is one that can propel Coco Gauff to the 4th place in the race to the final.
Yeah, I think she, and again, she would be better ranked. Maybe she would be among the seeded players. This is what some of the big names try so hard to do whenever they are getting to the last Grand Slam of the year. Try to pick up every available point, so that it also helps you to be properly ranked. And you being seeded among the top-ranked players heading into a major competition out there. What this means is that it helps you to avoid some of the big names in the early stage. You get to meet maybe some of the big names when you are getting to the quarter-final or the final or even semi-final. But when you are not seeded among the big names, in a preliminary games like that, you are handed a very stiff opponent. So for me, I think it's a great one to see 2 of these players getting to the final, especially for the lady out there who won this very one. Talking about Coco Gauff, this will also cement her place as one of the big ranked players heading into that game, and it gives her an advantage because she's going to be seeded among relatively unknown players.
While Coco Gauff looking out to be strong at the forthcoming season Masters. Meanwhile, she's headed for Wuhan Open this Monday, and we hope to see more of Coco Gauff. Meanwhile, the men are equally looking out for more points and qualification for the season-ending championship, because Carlos Alcaraz and Yannick Sinner came through tests at the Shanghai Masters to reach the last 16. World #1 Sinner recovered from set down to beat Thomas Martin Echeverry 6-7, 6-4, 6-2, while Akaras end a 7-6, 6-3 victory against Yubin Wu. You want to say, who is Yubin Wu?
Yeah, relatively unknown in the world of tennis out there, but then don't forget, sometimes we've seen so many shockers where you see some of these, unranked players or relatively unknown players coming in to give, some of these big name players a run for their money, thereby creating or causing an upset out there. But then these ones, they were not ready for such an upset. He was dispatched, without any iota of mercy at all. So for me, I think it boils down to the game as well. It is part and parcel of the game. When you are meeting with some of these relatively unknown players, as some of these big names, you don't need to take anything to chances because they might hurt you. And that is why, the world number 2 didn't waste any time in dispatching, his opponent rather.
Still in tennis, world number 5, Daniil Medvedev booked his place in the last 16 of the Shanghai Masters last night, overcoming tenacious Italian Matteo Amadi 5-7, 6-4, 6-4. It looked difficult in the first set there for Daniil Medvedev.
Amadi is not a very bad player. I actually followed Amadi's training and some of his last 5 games as well. Very, very smart in serving the ball as well. Very good, and with the way he swings his left hand as well is another advantage. So he was a tough opponent for every other, but then he was able to come out top in that very one.
In Joshua for a rematch against Anthony Dubois, against Daniel Dubois.
Well, for me, I think it's more like putting faith on Anthony Joshua. But I tell you, take a look at a devastating defeat of Anthony Joshua against Daniel Dubois at the Wembley Stadium, capacity of about 96,000 people who turned out to watch that very well. I think for me, it looks as though Anthony Joshua has lost his Midas touch, because he was actually, punished. He was pummeled right from the first round to the second, third, fourth, and even to the last round when he was dropped, down on the canvas of Daniel Dubois. But I want to say, Anthony Joshua is no longer that Anthony Joshua, a southpaw puncher that we know out there. And I tell you, if there's anything to go by from different advices from ex-boxers out there. After the fight, the rematch between they saw some of those Saudi representatives down there in the side of the ring watching live. So because of the contract that he had with the Saudi season earlier, and that is why they are thinking of taking the fight out there.
Saudi Arabia has been a favorable ground for Anthony Joshua in the past. Maybe that's one of the reasons why they think he could get at this rematch in Saudi Arabia, and maybe something different could change. But we don't know whether this will see the light of the day. Like Mike did allude there, money will be a deciding factor whether there will be a rematch between Anthony Joshua and Daniel Dubois, both of them British. And I feel for Joshua because of his Nigerian connection, but again, it has to do with the fact that he's not crash on a very, very well. Let's take a break now. When we return from the break,
The people of Maiduguri need your help. A catastrophic flood has engulfed the city, leaving over 1 million residents stranded and fighting for survival. Entire communities are submerged, with people trapped inside homes and on rooftops cut off from food, clean drinking water and essential supplies. Health experts are warning of a potential outbreak of deadly diseases, and medical facilities are out of commission. The situation is dire. Helicopters, boats, women and children still awaiting rescue. The Nigerian media now, before it's too late. For more information on how you can help, contact Professor Usman A. Tar, the Honorable Commissioner for Information and Internal Security, Borno State, on 0809-233-3955. Every second counts.
This is powered by Atlantic Television Network.
Welcome back, and the Sports Talk here on Atlantic Television Network. We told you about how Moya Kwarencha, the sole representative of Gombe State at the last National Youth Games, has been honored by its state government. And beyond that, in boxing, Anthony Joshua Dubois encounter is still reverberating after the Nigerian boxer was beaten at in front of Wembley Stadium, packed crowd. Mike, just before we get out of boxing and go to football now, we are hearing stories of Tyson Fury saying whether he was beaten or not, he still wants that rematch. We understand that could be coming up sometime December or next year. Do you still believe that Anthony Joshua should face Tyson Fury?
Of course, yes, for me. You know, that rumor has been on the card ever since. But then when it is almost close between the camp of Anthony Joshua and that of Tyson Fury, you know, Tyson Fury just find a way, one way or the other, to dodge the fight. But this time around, having seen that Anthony Joshua form is no longer maybe what he used to be, that is why he's trying to ignore him. I mean, so many boxing followers out there have been hoping to see Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury on the, you know, the ring, but it did not happen. But if it do happen this time around, I think it's going to be a good one, like I said.
Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed. I remember that 8th round defeat from coming the way of Fury's of Alexander Usyk, now the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Let's go to football. And in football, after 5 games in the Nigerian Premier League, Rivers United is the winner, or do I say is the leader of the league table. Last night, they beat their counterparts from Akwa Ibom State, Akwa United, by 2-1. Hard-fought win.
Yeah, hard-fought win for them out there. And it's quite understandable that Akwa United, you know, have been struggling. This is their 3 straight defeats so far on the road, and I think for me, it's looking likely that Baba Ganaru and his boys out there may just you know, struggle again, you know, until the end of the season so far, having not started on a very good note. I think for me, it's a very troubling time for Akwa United. But for Rivers United, I think it's an impressive way for them out there under Finidi George. There seems to be a new life out in the camp of Rivers United. But let's hope that they will, you know, continue to keep this on until you know, the final season, because as it is, we are seeing some other notable names in the coaching you know, pact of Nigerian Premier Football League. Just a few days ago, a few hours ago rather, we heard that you know, a certain coach has been appointed for Lobby Stars, who is ex-international. So it brings a level of competition for coaches right here in the Nigerian Premier Football League to hit height. And of course, Finidi George being one of those top you know, coaches right here in the Nigerian Premier Football League. I think you know, we just wait to give him time and see if he can be able to help Rivers United to contend for the title this season.
Rangers International still remain among the top 4 because they beat their opponent at the weekend, Abia Warriors, by 1-0.
Yeah, I think for me, Rangers International, they've been getting the result, but it's just that 1 goal, it has not been very convincing. After they lost their first game, first loss of the season, they suffered their first loss of the season to Remo Stars. You know, since then, I think they've played 2 games on the road, winning 1-0. So for me, I think it's a great one for them to keep up with the pace in the table.
Talking about Remo Stars, one of the 2 teams unbeaten before last weekend match, where they lost their status of unbeaten nature. by 1 goal because they were defeated 1-0 by Kwara United. Only Rivers United now remains unbeaten in the Premier League.
Yeah, for Remo Stars, I think they've done a good job so far since the start of this season. But then under Daniel Ogumodede, there's still much to be expected from Remo Stars as it is right now. Having been beaten, broken that beaten record for them so far this season. In their next game, they'll be hoping to also, get all 3 points so as to continue to fight for the title at this early stage. And for Rivers United, we may want to say, yeah, it has been an impressive start to life for Finidi George. Let's see if he can continue to keep this unbeaten run in the next weekend fixtures.
The Freke was a star player in that fixture. In the 85th minute, he scored a thunderous bullet, a shot against his former club, Aqua United.
Yeah, I think that is what happens when you are sold out to a different club out there. You want to tell your former club that, come on, this is what you guys are missing. I have the quality, I have everything it takes, but you let me go. I'm going to use this medium right now to maybe take a pound of flesh. That is what happened to get them to at least make up a very good start, at least to show that indeed they truly understand what it means to play in the Nigerian Premier Football League. But as it is, it looks as though they continue to get a bad result. And I tell you, if things did not turn around for good for them, they might just be heading back to relegation next season.
Well, the biggest news, or let's say highlight of the weekend in the Nigerian Premier Football League has to do with the encounter between Kano Pillars and, of course, Sunshine Stars. The match saw the return of former captain of the Super Eagles of Nigeria, Ahmed Musa, to Premier League football. He's played for Kano Pillars before he traveled abroad, returned back, play for them, return back abroad again. But this time around, he's his third missionary journey to Kano Pillars. And he scored 2 goals on the night at the Muhammadu Diko Stadium in Katsina for Kano Pillars. Yes, he scored 2 goals, but missed a penalty as well. It could have been a hat-trick.
Yeah, I think it's an impressive way to start, for the Super Eagles captain, talking about Ahmed Musa. Where he started, though, just like you said, he missed a penalty, but he had to make up for that, scoring 2 goals. It is a great way, and you saw how the fans were very jubilant and celebrating him as well. I think for me, it's a great one. Let's hope that he's going to bring his wealth of experience to actually help Kano Pillar this season to fight for the title.
Talking about captain of the Super Eagles, Musa. Joining Kano Pillars. He's not the only one. Shehu Mohammed as well, another Super Eagles defender, featured in that encounter, and will be playing for Kano Pillars this season.
Yeah, I think it's a great addition for them, and a great one for them to make that decision of coming back to the Nigerian Premier Football League. Out there, though many are saying they just want to keep themselves fit, but then they should have, they don't have the interest of this, home-based club out there in their heart. They should have, looked for 1 or 2 clubs out there in the overs and attached themselves. But since their contract expired, Ahmed Musa contract was also terminated with his club side out there. It deemed it necessary to come back and add his own quarter to the development of the league. So for me, I think it's a nice one. Good experience that Kano Pillars, is adding to their squad out there, because these 2 players have also what it takes. They've garnered the experience both locally and internationally, and worldwide as well, to get what they truly desire. So for me, these 2 players is definitely going to add more strength, more experience into the Kano Pillar squad, and this a big achievement for Kano Pillar only if they keep up to track with what is on ground, that is to try to pursue other top teams out there to see if they can contend for the league. So it's a good addition for these 2 players.
As well, at the weekend in the Premier League here in Nigeria, Enyimba International in Aba beat Katsina United by 3 unreplied goals, while Bayelsa United continue to struggle because they played a goalless draw with Nasarawa United. Yeah,
for Enyimba, I think that match, there are some major highlights in that game we need to also talk about. It was played under the floodlight. At some point, there was a power outage in the stadium. In fact, it was the fans that turned out to watch the game that was actually using their phone cameras to, point to the pitch of play until after some time. It takes such a long hour before, the
light
was restored. So for me, I think it is one thing that we need to also talk about. We are talking about maintenance of facilities out there, trying to put proper things in place out there. Now, coming to enjoy a night match on the floodlight, all of a sudden, there was a seizure of electricity supply that could have caused a whole lot of havoc, but we thank God that no mishap was caused, and the Enyimba came out on top of that one. 3-0 it ended. Good one for the Olarewaju-led side.
Still looking around for football stories for you this hour. At the weekend, there was a return of Daniel Amokachi to the Nigerian Premier Football League. This time around with Lobby Stars as their new technical advisor. How did this happen?
Well, I think it happened because Lobby Stars, their results so far hasn't been impressive with their coach, and that is why they had to let him go and bring in the 1994 squad as well, talking about Daniel Amokachi. And I said it earlier that we are going to see, we have been seeing rather some top coaches, some top names in the Nigerian Premier Football League as coaches standing on the dugout. Take a look at Finidi George, ex-international, Emmanuel Amunike for Heartland, ex-international, part of the 1994 squad as well. Daniel Amokachi right now as well, ex-international, part of the 1994 squad. Having some other top name coaches, Daniel Ogumodede, Fidelis Ilechukwu, Baba Ganaru, Kennedy Boboy. I mean, I think this season there's going to be a lot of competition in the Nigerian Premier Football League because of the coaches that have been brought into the league. So for me, for Daniel Amokachi, let's hope that he's going to change or turn things around for Lobby Stars for good.
Turning things around for Lobby Stars right now, they presently occupy the 17th position, and that's of course a relegation threatening side. Having gotten only 4 points from an available 15. Daniel Amokachi has a lot on his hand for to do with Lobby Stars. Let's leave that Nigerian scene now and look across. Well, still has to do with the Super Eagles of Nigeria. This time around, 23-man squad for the 2025 African Cup of Nations qualifying match against Libya. Remember, it's a doubleheader this weekend, has been named. We understand there is a return of Chidera Ejuke, who plies his trade in Sevilla, Spain.
Yes, I think there is a only surprise return, and for me, I think it really deserved that return to the national team, because since he moved from CSK Moscow to Sevilla, I think he's been doing great things out there. He's very, very instrumental for the Sevilla team out there. And I tell you, in fact, as it is right now, he's the best or the most player that have taken on one-on-one players in the La Liga so far. This is one of the best dribblers alongside Yami Lamal. I think his form so far truly deserve this reckoning to bring him back into the national team. So for me, let's hope that we can see a flash of what he's doing with Sevilla in the national team this time around.
Talking about 23-man squad, they invited for the Super Eagles encounter against Libya this weekend in Uyo, and of course next week in Libya as well. There is Ademola Lookman on the squad, Samuel Chukwueze is there, and of course Boniface, Victor Boniface, remember him, is in the squad as well. So this will be, do I say, another experience for Victor Boniface to impress the fans at the Godswill Akpabio Stadium.
Yes, of course, I think it's another opportunity for him, because if you take a look at what he's doing for the Bayern Leverkusen sides, he's been scoring goals left, right, and center, giving the assists, putting up a man of the match performance out there week in, week out for the Bundesliga outfit. But when on social media to say, his village people this time around, but then last, it is their opponent that is going to suffer it in the African.
Libya is Victor Osimhen.
Yes, for me, I think Victor Osimhen, he will be greatly missed in that team as well, because we know the physicality, the energy that he brings into the face do the damage any day, anytime.
Okay, let's stay away from that and now go quickly to the Premiership in England. And at the weekend, we saw a lot of football action. First, it was Liverpool against Crystal Palace. Liverpool went away to beat Crystal Palace by 1-0. Early goal, but they defended it from the 90th minute to 90th plus at a time.
Yeah, hard Liverpool under Ancelotti were able to get all 3 points against a hard-fought the pace on the Premier League as it is.
Everton played a goalless draw with Newcastle at the weekend. We saw West Ham beat Ipswich Town by 4-1. Ipswich looking like a team that will return back to the championship.
Honestly speaking, they are looking likely like a team that is going to return back to the championship because they find life very